to Bet Sports.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Dudes Who Bet Sports. We are here, first show in December. That also means playoff talk galore, conference championship talk galore. Papa Dude, we've got a really good week of conference championship games.
Oh, it's nuts. It's going to decide a lot of stuff. I mean,
one of the things that I think the conference championship week had kind of gotten stale or just not very good the last however many years. I mean, you could go back a little bit. Not this year. This is good stuff.
Oh, the whole season has been.
Yeah.
It's just, I've talked about it off air a lot. There just isn't a dominant team. And I think the reason why there's no dominant quarterbacks this year. You don't have a Joe Burrow. You don't have that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got some really good ones.
Yeah.
But, and this, you know what I think of Dylan Gabriel? He's not elite.
Right.
But he's probably the most consistent, best quarterback that's left.
Yeah.
And he, if they lose, it ain't going to be because of him. I'll say that. But he's the best.
It's definitely starting to show itself. And we don't have a dominant defense this year either. Those old defenses of teams like Georgia's and the Alabamas, it's not there this year, and it leaves holes. Now, I will say before we get into it, first of all, Ohio State losing again. We got to talk about that for a second, because that was truly a shock that they lost that game to me. Now, did I think the game might be close because it's a rivalry and all the stuff that goes into rivalries? Yeah, sure. Never did I think they would score just 10 points. Never did I think they would get beat.
No, and it wasn't a fluke.
No, it wasn't. They lined up and physically got whipped again.
Yeah. By a 6-5.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yep.
And it was bad. And they're really in a situation, because you got a coach that wins 10, 11, 12 games every year. He can't beat Michigan. I think he's 47-1 against the rest of the Big Ten and 1-4 against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fire him, I don't think. I just don't think you can do that. Do you?
No.
I've never liked him. I never thought he's that great, but he does get players, and the issue to me, I got a buddy that's a big time Michigan fan, and he's been pissed off at Michigan all year because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I got nothing against the guy that Ohio State's got.
Yeah.
But is that the best Ohio State could find?
Right. Yeah.
With all this talent they have? I don't think they're quite as talented offensively as they usually are.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of people saying Ryan Day, he thinks they'll be final if they don't. He'll be fired if they don't make the finals or the semifinals. Here's the problem with that. And let me first say, I don't know that I agree or disagree. I think it's up in the air for sure. The timing of how you fire your coaches now has changed with the early signing period and the transfer portal. And then there's a late signing period. Like used to, you would sign everybody late in February, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now all these guys are signed. The transfer portal opens up. If you fire a guy, say into December, I don't know where you go as a program. And most of the coaches that would be available that are big names are already locked up by that time.
Right.
I don't know that the timing really makes a lot of sense. And I know everybody wants him gone. And, listen, a couple of playoff wins, and that's not going to be the case.
All going to go away.
But it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, because that's not really, it used to, yes, that's kind of the timing of it, but now that's not really the timing of it in college football. It's right now. So it'll be fascinating how that goes.
It does. And, you say, well, they can find somebody better. You don't know that. Who are they going to get? The guy wins 11, 12 games every year.
You might find somebody better right now, but into December, I don't know.
Well, neither.
I don't know.
No, these other guys are kind of locked in too. And I mean, who are they going to go out and get? I don't know.
It would have to
wave a magic wand and go out and get somebody. It doesn't.
Kevin B said it would have to be a guy like Mike Vrabel, who's not.
He's never coached in the damn college. I mean, why are you going to go? I mean, Mike Vrabel's going to get he's going to get a pro job.
I would think yes to that. I also would think there was a time where coaching in college was a little more appealing as far as coaching in the pros for reasons. That is way not the case. I think if you're a coach right now, you are not even wanting to mess with college.
Mike Vrabel, no way.
It's a mess how everything works and everything you've got to do. You've got to get the players. You got to get the transfer portal. Not even mention you got to assemble a staff and you've got a coach. I mean, the day-to-day operation of college football right now is worse than the NFL. So by far, I think somebody's going to want that Ohio State job.
Well, obviously,
if Vrabel's got an offer to coach in the NFL, he's going to go there. I think. And
I think he's going to go to the Bears.
2-3 years ago, 5 years ago, before the portal and all this stuff. I don't know if that was the case, but I think it is now.
I think he's going to the Bears.
I mean,
it's a fit.
That'd be a good fit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a job that he probably would be interested in. I mean, you can win there. They're close now.
Yeah.
You look at their record, they could easily be flip-flopped.
Yeah.
They had some mismanagement by the coach and then the quarterback as well. Mm-hmm. He's young. He might get better. He's weird. That's the only thing. But
yeah.
Lane Kiffin gets fired. I don't know, Dennis, whether Ohio State wants Lane Kiffin, but
Lane Kiffin's not going to get fired.
I don't think so.
But why would he get fired?
I know. Well, I don't know. But the thing is, I mean, Ryan Day's record's pretty good. And okay, he's 1-4 against Michigan. Okay, one of the years they beat them, they won the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Michigan sucks.
Yeah.
They did this year. And the other losses aren't that bad, you know?
Mm-mm.
And the thing we talked about last week about that game, the thing with Michigan is on the line of scrimmage, they're physical. They're tough. Their defense is good. They just don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball. And they just went toe-to-toe with them, and they stopped them, and Howard played bad, and they just couldn't get anything going. So,
you
know, it was an upset. Yes, I thought they would beat them fairly easy because I thought just eventually start wearing down Michigan's defense, but they never did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bad loss. Another thing, I think I loved the fight after the game. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was going to do. It's so funny that started, right? And I agree. Like the announcers were talking like we were seeing a funeral right in front of us. This is just awful. And I'm sitting there going, Heather, get down here. You got to see this. They're fighting. They've got the Michigan flag. This is amazing. And then all day you see it. Okay, look, if you're Michigan and you go in there and you beat Ohio State again, go plant the flag. If you're Florida and you go on the road to beat Florida State, you should be embarrassed that you did that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
but these players saw that and then they mimicked it all day long. It was hilarious.
That's to me was the worst thing that Ohio State did. They should have just tucked their tails and went into the locker room. Game's over. And you know what? They would have planted the flag and probably left the field.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that's what a rivalry is all about. I think that happens in the OU Texas game every year.
Yeah.
It's part of it. Do you like it when your team's the opposite? No, you hate it. You're saying you don't like it. Win the damn game.
I thought they asked Baker Mayfield about it. Of course, he's the first one to plant the flag there at Ohio State. And he said basically what you said. He said, every year OU Texas, it does it. The loser hates it, but you walk off, you take it, and the winner plants the flag. He's like, "Is this ridiculous?" He's like, "Let the boys play."
Well, he started that in Columbus when they beat him up there that night.
And you could tell when they asked him, he was like, "Jesus, why are you asking me this?" Like,
well, he knew why they were asking him.
But
I thought it was hilarious, and it seemed like it was going to break off, and it was over, and then bam, here comes somebody else, and it started in again, and it was Now it would have been bad if somebody got hurt, but we'd probably be saying something different. But I've heard a lot of guys, Teddy Lehman, Butkus winner from OU. He thought it was great. I heard him commenting on it. He thought it was absolutely great.
It's always funny. You can always tell the people that have played competitive sports versus the ones that haven't, because the ones that haven't are like what the announcers were doing. Oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in college football. And the guys that have played have been like, yeah, I would have tried to knock them out too if they were trying to do that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it is just kind of interesting to see that different dynamic from people. But I mean, at the end of the day, I thought it was funny. And
It's great.
I mean, what are you going to do? Like,
It should become a rule now that if you went on the other team's field, you get to plant the flag on the. Do you think that of course we have no rules in college football anymore? You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You think now we're going to pass a rule that you can't do that anymore?
that's probably what they'll
Would
do.
not surprise me a bit.
Yeah. Well, look, and at the end of the day, if you're the team that's a sore loser, so to speak, that hey, you should have showed that aggressiveness on the field thing comes up a billion times. I don't know how many people text me that. Boy, if they would have shown that aggression on the field during the game, they wouldn't have had this problem, And
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, well, you open yourself up for that,
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, now wait a minute here, Carr. Carr says, "What would today's broadcasters have said about Woody Hayes choking?" Okay, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. They would have treated him like Paco Lopez is getting treated right now. If you know on that one. Jesus, that was terrible. This always cracks me up.
Yeah.
So you got the flag and you're taking it down the sideline and you go to the middle and you do the big dramatic thing and that's all cool. And then that flag just boom, falls right down and it's like, oh, well, that's dumb. Like you can't really plant the flag on any surface. You have to get a drill.
That's true. Yeah. Dennis is commenting on Louisville beating Kentucky, and that's got to feel good to you too, because that's one of those you've had trouble beating them in the years, and not this year. You drilled them. So
good win. Yeah,
a great year too.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Good year for Louisville again. Back to back good years. So good for them for sure. All right, let's get to the games now. We'll talk about college football. We'll talk about all the championship games, whether they mean something for the playoff or not. We'll kind of divulge the playoff situations as well as we go along. Let's start with Friday. Let's start with the Conference USA, Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State -5. This is one of the bigger spreads that we're going to talk about here.
No doubt.
What do you think about this one?
I think they played each other last week, didn't they? I think they did.
Yeah, it seems like if it wasn't last week, it was the week before.
Yeah,
it was very recent. Yeah.
Yeah, and Western Kentucky beat them, which surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they beat them this time. Jacksonville State had won 8 in a row. It was a very low scoring game too. And so I think that spread's a little high, 57.5. I think that score was 12-10 something. I think it was pretty low scoring if I remember. I like Jacksonville State in this one. I think they get their revenge against the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Jacksonville State had been one of the hottest teams in the country. I mean, they were really playing well, and like I said, they and I remember we talked about them earlier in the year, and they got out to a really disappointing start.
Yeah, 0-3.
Yeah, but then, like I said, won all those games. They lost 19-17 was the score of the game.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and that was Western Kentucky put some points up.
Yeah,
Jacksonville State's got a pretty good defense. Rich Rodriguez is a coach there. Done a really good job. I think they're in their second year of Division I.
Yep.
And they had a winning season last year, and here they are again. And that's not in Jacksonville, Florida. That's in Jacksonville, Alabama.
Correct.
And they were very, very good at that lower level. And they've moved up to one and just gotten the right conference. Conference USA's the weaker, I think, of all of them. And they've just recruited well. He does a good job. And Western Kentucky's always pretty good. So
Rob said, were they holding back last week, needing it this week? So I think it's a combination of Western Kentucky's not bad. It was at Western Kentucky, and Jacksonville State didn't have to have it. So it's all three. So give me –
you don't hold back.
I think at home, Jacksonville State wins. So I'm going to Jacksonville State.
I think it'll be a good game.
Very quick. Rich Rod, I've heard rumored to go back to West Virginia. What do you think?
Yes, I've heard that too.
I think that's a good fit. What do you think?
It is. It's where he made his reputation.
Mm-hmm.
He was the coach when they were so good, and I think they were ranked number 1, and they remember that? They got beat on a Friday night by Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Knocked them out of that
Yep.
position. They were
Yep.
in line to go play for the national championship.
They were. Yep.
They got beat. Yeah, he had it rolling there. And
It'll be
I would
interesting.
not be I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, let's go to this one, the Mountain West Championship game, which in my opinion, the way this thing's ranked, this is a play-in game for the playoff. I don't see any way unless maybe Army wins and UNLV wins and Army could jump. I don't think it's going to happen. All right, UNLV, Boise State. Boise State wins. They're probably going to get, well, not probably, they're going to get a bye.
Yeah.
If UNLV wins, they're going to be the 12 seed. Boise's a 4-point favorite. It's in Boise. This is one of those conferences where the top seed gets the game at home. So what do you think happens here?
I think when the whoever devised the rules for the 12-team playoff, I don't think they envisioned a 2-loss team from these lower conferences getting in. Do you?
No.
I think they looked at through the years when Central Florida was 13-0 one year and Boise's been 12-0 before, thinking that's what we were going to get. It's kind of embarrassing if we're going to get a 2-loss team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way Boise's been playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've not been dominating anybody. Those games have been fairly close against teams that aren't very good. You know, took Wyoming, 17-13, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Struggled at home against Nevada, 28-21. While UNLV's kind of quietly been winning. However, the game's in Boise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the way it goes in these smaller conferences. You get the games on your home field if you earned it. That's the reason I'm going to go ahead and take Boise. If that game was in a neutral site, I'd take UNLV.
Yeah.
I think they're playing better, but I think the blue turf's going to pull them through.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a tight game. But I do think Boise gets it done. I do think they're going to win and knock out UNLV and become what could be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. We'll see how it shakes out. But I think Boise wins and gets that first round bye. You know, Kevin B said he thinks Boise's in no matter what. I don't think so because look at the ranking. They're number 10. If they lose, they're going to drop them.
UNLV will move up.
Yeah, so I think Boise is totally out if they lose this game. But look, I still think Boise's going to win. I think it would become extremely interesting if Boise loses, because I would imagine then the Big 12 is going to get that bye if it's UNLV, because I don't see UNLV getting put up above those two Big 12 teams. So, yeah.
Well, I think this is something that needs to be addressed. The seeding, the way they're doing the seeding, that needs to be addressed in the offseason.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's a problem.
We're going to get, no matter what happens in the Boise UNLV. Well, if they do move the Big 12 up into the top 4, we're going to get 2 seeds that have no business being in the top 4.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see if UNLV wins. It's like, what is this? Nobody talked about this team all year being there, and that's because the team we're getting ready to talk about lost. So now, UNLV's got a chance. But
yeah, they did.
We're both going to go Boise in this one. All right, Tulane and Army. So Tulane killed themselves with that loss last week. They're now out of the top 25, so they're done. They ranked Army number 24. So even with a win, I don't think they're jumping UNLV if they win. So this is probably just for a conference championship.
Exactly.
Another game where it's going to be played on Army's home field, this American Athletic Conference game. Tulane's a 5-point favorite. Who you got here?
Look at the temperature, 28 degrees.
Yep.
A southern team going up north.
Yep.
A team that's coming off a terrible loss. Memphis is good, but they had to win that game and they didn't.
Yeah.
They got to prepare for Army's unique offense. They may win this, but I'm going to take Army in the points in this one. I don't like the way Tulane's going into this. I think they're going to struggle. I think that temperature is going to bother them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Army in the points. Tulane may win, but I'm going to go Army. And that'll get them to 11-1.
Yeah.
Going into the Navy game. And it could be interesting if they ended up 12-1. But I guess this playoff thing's got to be announced before they ever play, right?
That's the weird thing. That is the very weird thing.
Yeah.
So what would happen? I mean, again, an Army's not making it, but if they were to make it, they could go 11-1, then go play that game with Navy and lose, and then they would still, I think, have to be in at that point. So, but again, they're not. Tulane was the team when they lost. Nobody's making it for them.
That's right. I agree.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I like Army in this game as well. Give me Army. I think what a win. What a win it would be. I also think this is something new we kind of have to deal with, and it becomes the same thing we were talking about with the timing of coaches leaving. I think the whole thing is with Tulane, the offensive coordinator is as good as gone. The quarterback is as good as gone. We've known it for 3 or 4 weeks. Does that affect play calling or how that quarterback plays? Yeah,
absolutely. It does. It's a mess. It's a mess. And, you know, the Army-Navy game has always been played on the second Saturday in December. The game's irrelevant when it comes to playoffs. So they may have to end up deciding maybe to play that at a different time.
Yep.
The game means nothing.
Yep.
So, you know, that's another quirk that's happened, because who would have ever thought an Army and a Navy would be in a position that they're in?
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things that may get revamped a little bit in the off season.
No doubt. Should anyway. All right, let's go to Saturday's game here as we start this. The Big 12 championship, it's Iowa State and it's Arizona. So the winner probably gets the 12 seed. They could get a bye if Boise State loses or if SMU loses. That's another thing we'll talk about in a second, which I think is possible. But Arizona State, is a 2-point favorite here. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. This is okay. You go from a 12 to a 4. I mean, something's wrong with your system if that's the case. But that's exactly what I think is going to happen if the scenario you just laid out happens. So I think this is going to be a great game. Arizona State is red hot. They're playing great. And Iowa State won a huge game over K-State. That was a big one. First time they've ever won 10 games. I did not know that.
They were celebrating like it too.
Oh, they were, and they should.
Yeah.
And they'll have a large contingent of fans down in Arlington.
Yeah.
And I love the program. I love the way they play. Both Iowa schools, I love the way they play. Sorry, though, Cyclones. I think the Sun Devils are going to kick your ass, so I'm going to go Arizona State to win.
Yeah, one of these situations, again, I'll be rooting for Iowa State, but I'm picking Arizona State to win the game. 2-point spread was kind of surprising. I thought they'd be a little bit more heavily favored in this game. That's interesting. That means Vegas doesn't think this is a mismatch at all.
True.
I'll go Arizona State, though. I gotta go with Arizona State. I think they win it. So,
and what a coaching job there.
I think you can say it for both of them. A really good job.
Well,
I mean, we knew that about Campbell, but
he's great every year. So
yeah. But the Arizona State thing has been, it's been really good.
There's a guy that I say a kid. He's young. He might be ready to take the next jump. Although I think isn't that his alma mater? I think it is.
I don't know the answer to that because I don't care about anything that happens at Arizona State. Hardly ever, but now I do. So
well, there's no reason for them not to be good. They've been good in the past, and now he's got it going. So anyway.
Well, we'll see. They're going to make the playoff with the win. Same with Iowa State. Hopefully, for the Big 12's sake, they get a bye, but we'll see. Let's keep talking now. Mac, we'll go. What's that?
I don't care whether the Big 12 gets a bye or not.
Well, I do. I don't know. I do. All right, let's go.
Do you think? Hold on, before we go, just for a second. Do you think either one of those teams would beat Boise?
Yeah,
they might.
I do.
I do too. I wouldn't have said that 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I think so now.
I think either one of those teams, well, we'll get into it in a second, but okay. I do think they can. I don't think the Big 12 is very good. I don't think either one of those teams are great. I don't think either one of them have any chance really to win it. I would not be shocked if they won one.
No, I wouldn't either because they're going to be heavy underdogs probably.
Right. And I think whoever gets that 5 seed might not be the worst matchup for one of those teams. But
that's true. Yep.
All right. Battle of Ohio next here. Ohio versus Miami of Ohio. -1.5 for Miami of Ohio. What do you got in this one?
I have no idea on this one.
I
don't.
like Ohio in this
I
one.
do too. I think they're playing better.
Mhm.
They're 9-3. I guess we ought to go. We can get a ticket for $5.
Yeah, you probably sit down on the field. I
Yeah,
would
tickets
imagine.
are selling well in Detroit.
So this is I thought this was interesting. So let me just go back real quick. The conference championship game for Conference USA is at a home field. Mountain West is at a home field. American at a home field. You go down to the Sun Belt, it's at a home field.
Yeah.
This one is not, and I don't understand that.
I don't
because
either.
I feel like if this game was on one of the campuses, they would draw a decent crowd. For this
Yes.
game. Yeah.
I mean, there won't be 15,000 people at that huge stadium.
Yeah.
In Detroit. I don't get this at all.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ohio as well. I think I think they got a little bit more offense. I saw them whip Toledo, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. They look pretty good. Miami's tough, but I'm going to go Ohio to win that one.
Yeah, I went with Ohio as well, and what I guess, quote unquote, an upset. All right, let's keep going. Georgia goes on, not on the road. Georgia goes to Atlanta to take on Texas. Even though Georgia beat Texas 30-15 at their home field just a few weeks ago, Texas is a favorite once again in what I think will be leaning towards a home game for Georgia, although Texas will bring a bunch, but it's in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you think about this one?
I would think this ticket would be a little higher than $114.
I agree. Yeah,
that surprises me. Well, I don't think Georgia should be number 5, but I guess you got to rank somebody number 5. So I've seen too many flaws in them. They did kick Texas's butt in Austin. I think Texas has offense problems a little bit. I think their defense is really good. A really good Georgia defense, I think it stopped Texas. They did in Austin, but Ewers got hurt in that game. He came back. I don't know how healthy he was. I'm beating around the bush here because I don't know who to pick. I don't know who to pick.
How easy is this? I think this is the easiest one of all of them we're talking about.
Oh, you do? You're going Georgia?
Georgia beat the shit out of them at Texas, and then you're getting points with Georgia on a neutral field. Why would you bet? Why would anybody bet Texas?
Well, I would bet Georgia on this too, because I just don't think Texas's offense is good enough. We've said all year that quarterback's going to keep them from winning it all.
Yeah.
What if they get through this? Will you change your mind a little?
I think here's the deal. I think either one of these teams can win the national championship.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I think I would put these two teams as the favorite. Whoever wins or loses, I don't really knock them down that much. It's all going to come back to matchups and stuff like that. We'll talk about the tournament when we know the field, right? Because sometimes maybe you get a matchup that's not favorable for one of these two teams. But if I was betting like a future wager, who's going to win the national title, these were the two teams I would bet. I say that because I still think Georgia's the best team. And I don't love Texas, but I do think they've got enough to kind of on offense to kind of make up for a quarterback that's a little shaky. And I think at a bigger spot with the better players, he's going to struggle, but they got a lot of pieces around him. And I just kind of feel like when you look at the rest of the country, Texas matches up pretty favorable with them. But again, I don't see any reason why I'm giving points with a team that lost by 15 on their home field. And not only did they lose, they won the turnover battle. Georgia turned it over. I think it was 4 times in that game.
Kept them in the game.
And that's what kept Texas in the game.
Yeah, you're right.
Why am I giving points now on a neutral field? I don't care that Georgia barely beat Georgia Tech. I mean, they beat them, and that was last week. This is this week. I just really feel like Georgia's a lot better team.
Right.
And if I lose it, I don't really care because there's no reason to take Texas. And this comes from a guy who took Texas to win last week when a lot of people and cover when a lot of people didn't think.
They did exactly what I thought, or A&M did exactly what I thought they would.
I sent a message. I don't even remember who it was. I was like, I was watching our shitty game and I turn it over there and it's like 17-0 Texas. I was like, oh, so A&M did the exact same thing they've done for 130 years of playing football. beat up on some bad teams, and then go to play a really good team and get beat.
Yeah,
Oh,
play
color
game-
me shocked.
Yeah, they got beat the week before in a game they had to have.
Well, and everybody's like, yeah, but they're really mad this year. They're really mad every
They're
year.
always mad.
They're always mad. They always hate. And, we got 100 million people in the stadium.
Yeah.
It's going to be really loud. And they never come through. They never come through. And
Because they're not good enough.
exactly. It's a program that thinks they're Texas and they're really Texas Tech. That's it. That's it.
Above
They're Texas Tech with a lot bigger fan base and a lot better stadium. But I bet if you compared those programs over the last 20 years, it's very similar what they've done.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And another thing about Texas, I know we're talking about A&M, but this is not a normal year because we don't have a dominant team.
Right.
In a normal year, when you had the dominant Georgia teams, the dominant Alabama teams, the dominant Clemson teams, would you be giving Texas any kind of chance to win the national championship if we
No.
wouldn't either.
No.
They've hit the jackpot this year. Yes, they took care of business like they have. They have one quality win.
Who is it?
A&M.
Oh, last week. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's a quality win because
that is. No, I agree. I agree.
Now, when the season shaped up, I said for an SEC schedule, this is a piece of cake for a good team. And they had the Michigan game, which turned out Michigan's not real good. And they played Georgia. Those were the only two going into the A&M game because Oklahoma wasn't any good. And so they didn't beat anybody really because the A&M is a fraud. So you know what? You've just convinced me. I'm going Georgia.
Well, and everybody's like, yeah, this Georgia team, they're not that good. And they're not. I don't argue that. This not very good Georgia team went on I'll say it one more time and then we're moving on. Georgia's not very good. I don't think they've been very good all year, to be clear. I don't think it's just that, hey, this last month they've been bad. They haven't really been up to snuff for it. We've talked about it all year. That team went in there and played pretty much like they played all year. They turn it over 4 times. The quarterback can't get of his own way. They went into Texas at night. Biggest game Texas had all year. College game day is there. They beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Why do I want to give points with Texas now in this game? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe they win. Maybe everybody's going to win in the chat, but I just don't. I don't want to do that.
I will say this: the Georgia team I watched against Georgia Tech is not going to beat Texas.
No.
How about that? They're going to have to play a hell of a lot better than that.
Agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I've never been as sick for a bunch of players as I was the Georgia Tech players after that game.
Yeah. Oh, that's just it. Like, I was rooting for Georgia Tech just because they deserved to win.
They deserved to win.
They played so hard. The quarterback played his ass off. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I was so sick for him because he played so well and then he fumbled that ball. The kid played as gutty. I'd take him in a minute if I was going to war. My God, did he ever? He laid it all out on the line. He took a beating and he fumbled that damn ball. And it just, man, he's got to be sick. So what a game that was. So I enjoyed it. College football's got to change this overtime bullshit. It's ridiculous. That's
I hate that.
And the other thing's so stupid. Why do you walk from one end of the field to the other?
It's really dumb. Yeah.
You got a game like there where you've left it all out on the line. Hell, you get tired walking from one end of the field to the other.
That's the same thing. It's like they would run 2 plays and then it'd be 5 minutes and then run another 2 plays.
Stupidest thing I've ever seen. Who makes these rules? God.
I don't know.
Make no sense. I mean, if you're going to do the 2-point, okay, wait till you played like 3 overtimes. Because that game came down to really how many trick 2-point plays do you have? You don't have that many. So finally, you just I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It kind of. I'm not gonna say it ruined it because it was still a great game, but
it was.
It was
the wrong team won.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true too. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. By the way, everybody in the chat was against me when Georgia stomped them the first time, so I feel good that y'all are against me again. Because I watched every play of that game, and Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage. I mean, dominated it.
Oh, I hope you're right. I hate Texas, but you know what? I don't like Georgia either. So
No. But look, maybe it's flipped. Yep. All right, let's keep going. Marshall on the road to take on Louisiana here. Louisiana's had a pretty good year. This is Louisiana Lafayette. They've changed their name just to Louisiana the last couple of years, but they're a 6-point favorite here at home. What do you think in this one?
Only degenerates like me watch all of these games and keep up with all this stuff. And Marshall has been playing great.
They have, but Louisiana's been good as well.
They have.
This would be a good game, I think.
Well, the Sun Belt is a good conference.
It's not terrible.
It's strong. And
it's better than Conference USA.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
It might be better than the American Conference. It's weak other than a couple.
When you figure in that Army's 10-1.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not a little better, but it's close. It's close. There's some good teams in this conference. Appalachian State's usually good, and they're not as good this year. Anyway, give me Marshall and the points. I think Louisiana might win.
All right. Now I'm going to go with Louisiana. I think since it's at home, I think they'll get it done. Give me Louisiana in this one. All right, 2 big ones left here. Oregon trying to cap off a perfect regular season before they get into the playoff. They're 3.5-point favorites against Penn State, who's now in the game because of that Ohio State loss.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a classic, I think. Penn State is the underdog, 3.5 points. If Penn State wins, I think they'll be the 2 seed, maybe the 1 seed if it is Georgia that beats the darlings of the chat. If Penn State loses, I think they're 5 or 6 as far as the seeding goes. So this is a big one. Who you got?
Again, I'm looking at this ticket price, $20.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Do you think it would be $20 if Michigan was in this game or Ohio State? Is it just they don't think? This isn't a classic Big Ten matchup, maybe?
My theory of it is we've been through this before where a team thinks they're going to a game 6 or 7 weeks before it happens, and then they buy all the tickets, and then all of a sudden they're not there, and all the tickets get sold.
Yeah.
That could be a little bit of it.
I think so, too. I don't know how well Oregon travels. They're not too good, I wouldn't think.
They travel very well. They've came to Norman, and they had a ton of people.
Well, they didn't have many.
Okay.
But when's the last time they've been 12-0 going into this,
Right, yeah.
They've been in a lot of Pac-12 championship games that usually have a loss or two. There's a lot riding on this for them. I think they're better than Penn State, but I keep going back to what happened to them against Wisconsin, which is the type of team Penn State is. Rock 'em, sock 'em, ground game, kind of, slow you down a little bit, knock you around. The game might be a good preparation for Oregon going into it, but I'm a Ducks fan all the way. I'm not going to bet against them, so I'm going to take them to cover and win this one.
I think this has upset written all over it. I am going to take Penn State plus the 3.5. I don't have the guts to bet them outright, but I think Penn State will keep it close. I am not down on Oregon or dislike Oregon or think they're not very good. I think in terms of a number 1 team in the nation at this point in the season, that's not a overly strong number 1 team in the nation.
No, it's not.
I'm taking Penn State in the points in this.
Yeah, we'll go back again to what I said about Texas. If there was a dominant Georgia team, dominant Clemson team, dominant Alabama team, we would not be thinking Oregon's going to win the national championship.
Another thing, exactly, and I agree. And I think Oregon is another team that I would list in there with Texas and with Georgia. I think they got a great shot, but at the same time, they are 12-0. Yes, they have been for the most part pretty impressive. They've played good teams and beat them. There's no reason not to think that they're good because they're good, but I don't think they're like something special.
No.
And I think Penn State can keep this close. Let's Oregon beat Ohio State by 1 point. If not for a weird gaffe, where Ohio State's got a chance to kick a field goal and win that game.
They could have easily lost.
And then you fast forward it. If not for just some stupidity from Penn State. They had every chance to beat Ohio State.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think these two teams are closer than you might think. And I think the spread tells you that. It's a neutral field. So
yeah, I'll say this too. If Ohio State had done what they were supposed to and beat Michigan and would be playing Oregon in this, I think everybody would be picking Ohio State to beat them.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So,
I think the line would be maybe Oregon, but I think it'd be like
I think
Ohio
Ohio
State
State
1
would be
point.
favored.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State would be favored. But
All right.
that's not what happened. So
Nope, that isn't. So, all right. I do think Oregon's going to find a way to win the game, but I do want Penn State in the points in this one. I do. Not as confident as the Georgia pick, but still I just that's kind of how I see it. All right. Last one, really interesting game in my opinion. Clemson and SMU. SMU minus 2.5 in this one. Clemson coming off the loss to South Carolina. Clemson's not very good. SMU, they've had a good season without any question. Who are they really? Who have they played that we can sink our teeth into? Really nobody.
No.
I think SMU's in regardless.
You do?
I do. Clemson, I think will be the 12 seed if they win. I don't think they'll pass the Big 12.
I don't know.
I think Clemson will win this game. What about you?
Clemson still carries some weight.
So as you look right now, Clemson's number 17. The Big 12 teams are 15 and 16. That tells me the committee's telling you, hey, if Clemson does win this game, we're not going to move them ahead of the Big 12. But that's just my guess.
Yeah.
But who do you think wins the game?
I would be afraid if I was an SMU fan. I'm trying to think. They didn't play Miami, right?
No. Here, I'll read off their schedule if you want me to.
They did beat Louisville.
Yeah, that was their best win. Hold on. Let me read it off. I got to find it first. But when I do, here, I'll read it off. So SMU has no ranked win. So they beat Nevada by 5 in a game they could have lost.
Yep.
Houston Christian, that's nothing. They lost to BYU.
This was before they got rolling, though.
Right. Now, that was their first 3 games. They made a quarterback change after the 3rd game. So they haven't lost since. They beat TCU, who's not very good.
It's a decent win.
They beat Florida State.
Okay.
They went on the road to Louisville and won.
It's a good win.
They went on the road to Stanford and won.
Yeah.
They went on the road to Duke and won by 1.
Yeah, I remember that game. That was lucky.
Yes. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Boston College by 10 in a close game. They went to Virginia and they blew them out. So that's a decent win. And then California at home last week.
So see, they didn't play any of the upper teams. There aren't really any upper teams.
No.
So they didn't play Clemson in the regular season. They didn't play Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The only really good team they played was Syracuse. Or
Louisville.
Yeah. Okay, then you look at Clemson. They've lost to Georgia. And I don't care what anybody says, South Carolina's damn good.
Yeah, those are 2 good teams.
And
then they lost to Louisville.
That was a heck of a game.
Yeah.
And then Louisville's good. I mean, that's not a horrible loss.
No, they don't have bad losses.
No. So you could argue they've played the better schedules. They are a seasoned team. They probably feel like they're lucky to be in this. So they've got new life. I'm with you. I think they're going to win. Now,
how much does it play into your head that they've been there, done that?
A lot.
Yeah.
That, in fact, SMU's never been in this.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was this, I would like SMU better if they were playing Miami. I don't know why, but I would.
Oh, 1,000% agree.
Yeah, because
Miami's trash.
They are.
Here's the deal: Miami's been trash all year.
They have.
But they've been able to win some games they shouldn't have. They should have lost to California. They should have lost to Virginia Tech. I mean, their losses were there.
Okay, so are they out of the playoffs?
Totally, I think, yeah.
So, okay. So if Clemson wins, you think SMU is still in? They are ranked 8th.
It gets dicey. I think they'll make it though. Yeah.
Okay, so who's Alabama getting in ahead of?
Well, yeah, they're gonna get. Well, it could be SMU.
That's what I'm saying. And everybody's saying Alabama's in. And I'm going to tell you something. That's a ridiculous if they're in.
I've been saying that. Yeah.
No, it's a fact.
Yeah.
That team does not deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
I mean, if Texas beats Georgia, we're already going to have a 3-loss SEC team in there. We're going to have 2
Right.
3-loss SEC. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Alabama blew it when they lost at Oklahoma. They had every chance in the world.
Yep.
They were in the SEC championship game if they won out. And you can't lose to Oklahoma and make the playoffs. You cannot, as a 3-loss team.
I wouldn't think.
Well, it's a crime if they get in.
I knew they'd rank them where they are going to get in because
Exactly.
they always get every time.
And we used to say it was because of Saban. It ain't.
No, it's because Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mississippi has just as much legitimate right to say they belong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's if they get in, it's just a travesty.
Well, I think they'll get in somehow, some way.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
now if SMU wins, well, there's still a spot.
Oh, if SMU wins, Alabama is an absolute lock.
Yeah, that's right.
If the favorites, quote unquote favorites win, there aren't any weird things that happen, Alabama's in. They're a lock to be in. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just this year we don't have enough 10-2, 11-1 teams. I mean, I think Alabama should be in ahead of Miami. I will give you that.
Yeah. Oh, I do too. Yeah. I don't think Miami should be in at all. No. All right. So I didn't hear. Are you going Clemson?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just have to take the more seasoned team.
Yeah.
It's kind of they'll have more fans there than SMU.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, it'll be. Remember that time we went up to Big 12 championship and watched OU play Colorado?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what it's going to be like.
I would imagine you're right about that. Yeah.
So.
All right. It's going to be fun. I don't know. I don't know all the answers of what's going to happen, obviously, but what I do know is if it's anything like the last 3 weeks of the season, there will be drama in these games.
Oh, yeah.
Big time drama. And by the way, again, the largest point spread is 6. This is pretty much an NFL feeling slate when you look at these games. So
it just shows you how this year's been. It's just I can't remember one like this.
Mm-hmm. I can't either.
It's been great.
Either.
It has.
So next week we will have we might do like a live reaction show Sunday. I'll see what's going on, but we might do that because if there's a lot of drama and we're not quite sure, we might do that. So keep in touch keep tuned in, and we might do that as well.
Well, Monday will work better for me. So,
well, okay, we can do that.
Okay.
All right, we'll figure it out. So may not do it at all. It may not feel like it. All right, let's go to the NFL now. And we've got a very good game, maybe the best game of the week kicking off right now, or today, I should say. It's Green Bay and Detroit at Detroit. Detroit is a 3-point favorite. They are favored by 3 because they have 11 people out on defense on the 2 deep. So they're missing a lot of players for this game. That's why the line isn't more like 5 or 6. Do you still want to take Detroit with the injuries?
No, I'm not. I'm a little afraid. They were very fortunate to win last week.
Yeah.
Over the Bears. And the Bears are a lot better than a record. Green Bay's playing really well. I just am afraid of all those injuries. That defensive front is decimated right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to totally stay away from the game because Detroit's offense is dynamic, and they're not injured as much there as they are on the other side of the ball. And I love the way they play, and I don't want to root against them. But if I was going to bet it, I'd have to take Green Bay and the points. But I just have a feeling Detroit's one of these teams. They just rise up and do what they have to do to win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough game to bet because of the injuries.
I'm
were
staying
happy.
away from it because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lean Detroit still, but
I want them to win. Yeah.
this is more of a watch it type of game.
Oh, just
in my
enjoy
opinion.
this one. Yeah.
Now, speaking of watch it types of game,
Oh.
let's go to Sunday and let's go to
Yeah.
the real game of the week. The Jaguars at the Titans. The Jaguars without Trevor Lawrence, one of the dirtiest hits I have seen
Oh,
in
that
a
was
long time
Mhm.
in this game, or in last week's game. But Tennessee minus 3.5. Who you got here?
Give me the Titans to get well and win number 4 on this wonderful season, and I think we just ought to move on.
All right, Titans for me as well. I'm with you. Jets and Miami at Miami. Miami 5.5-point favorite as the Jets just ride out their season, and Rodgers steals his money. So who you got here?
Well, they're back into that comfortable 80 degrees, getting out of Green Bay the other night where it was cold. They simply cannot play in that kind of weather. The Jets suck. Give me Miami to cover.
All right, Miami for me as well. And this one, 2 easy ones in my opinion, at least looking at it on paper. Falcons and the Vikings next. The Falcons continue to go down, and the Vikings continue to find ways to win. 6-point favorite here. Who you got?
Kirk Cousins comes back to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. The Vikings are just they're just barely winning, but they're winning. I think that reminds me of another team that's kind of close to us. It's doing the same thing. You know, there's a major difference. The Vikings don't have the talent this other team has.
Yeah, exactly.
And they need to be thrilled that they're winning these games. They're 10-2. They're a lock for the playoffs. You know, they still could win the division. They're only a game behind Detroit. If Detroit gets beat and the Vikings win, suddenly they're locked up and they got another game left between each other. So, huge game. You just got to decide, is 6 too many? I think it is. I'm going to take the Falcons and the points, but I think Minnesota wins.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go Falcons and the point. Minnesota wins as well. We're on the same wavelength there. This next one, another beautiful game. The Saints go on the road to take on one of the better teams in the league, the Giants. The Saints are a 4-point favorite in this one.
Yeah, this is a solid ball club. The Giants, a nice home season, 0-6 at home. The fans are just really glad they come to these games. Lots of excitement. And then the New Orleans Saints, year in and year out, I never get them right. Never. This is a team, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're better than the Giants. You know, they're better.
They're a lot better. Give me the Saints.
Are you confident they can go in there and do that? I'm not.
Yes, I am.
Well, I know Tampa went in there and handled them, I guess, but
look, this is a abysmal franchise team season.
Yeah, the New York teams are good.
It's
5-19.
It's so bad. It is so bad, and this team is disgusting. Give me the Saints. They're just. I mean, it's not even a joke anymore with Kevin B. Like this, they're just horrific. I mean, every week it's like, God, they're gross. So yeah. I mean, they could beat the Saints. The Saints are terrible, but they've kind of been decent since the quarterback got back and the new coach. So
even another thing is this too. Well, the Saints didn't have a quarterback when they were going through that mess. Yeah. And now they changed coaches and they got Carr's okay. He's all right. He's better than what the Giants got. And that's too good, Kevin. The thing, I mean, here's another thing. The Giants need a quarterback.
Yeah, they need a lot of things. But yeah.
Here's the deal. There ain't one coming out this year. No. You want to risk your future on Carson Beck?
No.
Who else? Dylan's too small.
Cam Ward.
Oh no.
Well, I think
he's the best. I think
they're going to look at Daniels at Washington and think, well, we'll get him. We'll go get Cam Ward. He plays a lot like him, and I think that's what they'll.
Yeah, and you're going to.
That's what some team will try to do.
Well, you invest $50 million in him, and he'll be hurt at the end of the second year and done probably.
Yeah, but that's what I think will happen. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Panthers and the Eagles are up next. The Eagles are 13-point favorites. What do you got?
I like the way the Panthers are playing.
They're
I
playing
think
hard.
they are, and what's his name starting to play a little bit. He's finally playing better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Panthers and the points. I think they're going to go in there and play this game close.
Yeah.
The Eagles are coming off a huge win. This is an overlooked game for them. It's one where they just go, ho hum. We don't have to really concentrate on it. This is what happens a lot in the NFL.
Right.
So I'm going to take the Panthers and the points. The Eagles are not going to lose, but I think this one's going to be a little bit harder than 13 points.
Yeah, I don't want to bet this either way. I do really believe Philadelphia wins, obviously, but I do not think I want to take the Panthers, even though they're getting 13. But I don't want to lay 13 either. So it's a stay away game for me. I'm with you. The Panthers are playing better, but now since they kind of got their heart broke last week, will they be able to regroup, go on the road? I don't know. That's the question mark for me.
Are you beginning to believe in the Eagles?
Yes. Yes.
Barkley is unbelievable. Isn't
Yes.
He
Yes.
looks like he's 21 years old. He's made that team.
I am a big believer in the Eagles, now. I wasn't at the first season, but I am now. And yeah, I think it's one of those situations where Barkley got out of let's just call it a situation, and now he's in a better situation. So
I got another thing. Why doesn't every team do the tush push?
well, some teams do, and they don't execute it as quite as
So
well.
is it because Hurts is so strong in the legs? Because when a lot of times that initial surge has him stopped,
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, he's got a second surge, and he goes and he gets the first. Is it because we know that he's strong?
I think that's what it is. Yeah. I think that's what it is. He's really good at running it. They're really good at executing it. Because some teams have tried it, and some teams are okay, but some don't get anything.
I've never seen it stopped.
Yeah, I haven't either. No,
and I keep waiting for it to happen.
Well, he is a very, he's a very strong.
Oh, he's strong
individual.
He's a lot bigger than he looks.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's a strong guy for sure.
There's no doubt about it. He is.
So. All right, let's keep going here. Browns and the Steelers. Steelers try to get revenge after losing to the Browns in Cleveland. What do you think about this one?
Did you ever think you would see them give up 38 points and win?
No.
They did.
They did.
They're amazing.
They are.
And Russell Wilson's playing pretty well.
Yeah. Somehow.
This is revenge. Revenge for the Steelers after losing to Cleveland the other night. The question is, can they beat anybody by more than 6.5 points?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And Cleveland, they played good the other night too. And Winston just made a terrible throw. Mm-hmm. That was a heck of a game in Denver the other night. I'm going Browns at the points, but I think the Steelers will figure out a way to win.
All right, I'll go Pittsburgh again in this one. I was wrong about them 2 weeks ago in Cleveland. I was right about them last week in Cincinnati. So we'll try Pittsburgh again as they take on these lesser teams before they get to the tough ones coming up.
This is a must-win for them. They got to get.
If they want to get themselves in a position to actually make a run, this is the game they have to have.
Win it because they still got the Chiefs left.
Mm-hmm.
Another game with Baltimore. Don't they have the Eagles in there too? I think
they've got really. We've went through it before. Really tough games.
This is a must-win, especially with the Ravens 2 games behind them.
Yep.
They got to win this game.
You have to win. Yeah.
If you want to win the division, you got to win this game.
Speaking of a game you absolutely have to win, Tampa. They almost lost a game. They absolutely had to win last week. That was a miracle.
It was.
They were able to win that game. They fell behind with 30 seconds left. They got down in position to kick a field goal, tied the game, went down in overtime, missed a field goal. Carolina's in range. They fumble, and then Tampa recovers, goes down and kicks a field goal to win. Kicked a field goal to beat the Panthers. Mm-hmm. Now they're at home against the Raiders. The Raiders are not good at all. Tampa's a 6.5 point favorite. They have to win. Do they win? Do they cover?
They have to. They have to win. Because if they go ahead and win the division, they're going to look back on that Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
And every good team, we've said this a million times, has a game like that where they luck out and they win it. So they got to build that.
Their big problem, their very, very, very big problem.
They have a lot.
They do not have the tiebreaker with Atlanta. They got beat twice.
That's right.
So, and they blew it. They absolutely blew it.
One of those.
Yeah. And so that puts them where they don't have any margin for error now. They got to win the games they're supposed to.
Run through their schedule real quick.
It's very weak, other than one game.
They got one tough game in there somewhere.
So they have Raiders, then they go to the Chargers. That's a tough one. Then they finish at Dallas, Panthers, and the Saints. So
to win 4 of those.
They're going to be favored in 4 out of the 5 games. If they win the games they're going to be favored in, they're going to the playoffs. It's that simple.
Then they'll be 10-7, and that's a hell of a season.
10-7 will win the division.
Now pull up the Falcons real quick.
The Falcons have a much tougher road.
Okay.
But almost every team in the league has a much tougher road than what I just read. And by the way, you could go to LA and win. Like, that's not.
Oh, you could, but you're going to have to play well.
I got to find where the hell the Falcons went. There they are.
Had it. There we go.
The Falcons are, of course, at Minnesota. Then they go to the Raiders, the Giants, go to the Commanders, and then the Panthers.
Well, that's not too tough.
It's not tough, but that game in Minnesota and the game at the Commanders, and we're talking about the Falcons here. Like,
yeah,
they could lose any game.
They could go to Vegas and lose.
They could. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's all going to come down. Like you said, they got to be a game ahead of them at the end of the season, because if it's tied, they're out.
That's the problem. Yep.
That's
what's gonna end up beating them if they don't make
good enough to go 4-1. That's the deal. And actually, they would have went 6-1 in the last 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're that good. So,
yeah.
Do they cover is the deal? I think they do. I think they kick their tail ends.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
Possible.
I think they're gonna get this one done for sure. Yeah.
Give me 2-4 at home.
Yeah. Well, they got some guys hurt during this stretch. That didn't help, obviously, but
their defense is playing a little better.
Yeah, you have to beat the Raiders, and it's just that simple. Yeah.
You don't win that game, you don't deserve to be in there. So that's the way.
Exactly. Yep. All right, both of us on Tampa. This is a tough one. Every week, these teams are tough. Seattle and Arizona. Arizona's a 2.5-point favorite here at home against the Seahawks. Seahawks are in first right now in this division. Will they be able to go here and win this game?
Well, we're talking about a must-win for the Arizona,
and that's going to be difficult for them. Yep.
Yeah. Just picking them to win or lose, just money line this year. They played 12 games, and I've missed them 7 times.
Yeah.
Just to win or lose.
Right.
They're hard to figure out.
Yeah, very hard.
They're not very good on offense. They're just not.
Mm-mm.
So that gives everybody a chance when they play them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've picked them before, and they suck. I don't think Seattle's very good either, but I think they're a little better than the Cardinals. I got to go with Seattle for the value, if you want to bet, because I think it's a toss-up game. So I don't know that the Cardinals can win a game like this. I haven't seen it.
I went with Arizona.
Oh, you always do.
Yeah, and they look, like you said, 6 times they're good and 6 times they're not. So you just keep going. Hopefully they finish one game ahead and you're profitable on them. I mean, that's just I'm going to go with them again. They've been underdogs some of the games I picked them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think at home they'll be able to get it done. So give me the Cardinals here. More so that the Seahawks aren't great. I mean,
they're not.
They're not. So there's a chance that we could see a 3-way tie, because if Seattle wins and Arizona wins, they'll both be 7-6. However, it's not that good of a chance, because the Rams could also be 7-6 with the win. They're at home, and I'll put that in quotation marks, home, taking on the Bills. Bills 3.5-point favorites. Who you got here?
This is another one. Bills got to come across the country. Been red hot. I really like them. God, they looked good the other night. Allen is on fire. He really looks good. I'm going to take Buffalo. I don't think the Rams are good enough to beat them. Yeah,
I just don't know how you can support the Rams against a team like Buffalo when other like Miami went in there and beat them. I mean, these teams that have went in there and beat them aren't near as good as Buffalo. So I'm with Buffalo here. I think the Rams they're just not very good. You watch them week in and week out. You want to like them, but they're not good.
No, they're not.
Speaking of not good, the Bears are here, and they're going to go on the road, take on the 49ers, who aren't very good either. 49er, 4-point favorite in this one. Who you got?
They are so banged up. Their injury list
Yeah, it's bad.
is long.
Yep.
It's a must. They have to win. If they have any chance, they're lucky they're in a division that's everybody's just alike. But eventually you got to start winning. They lose this, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's the way they're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
They got a Bears team that's got to be psychologically, they're not in a good place. They've blown games. They've had chances to win. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you. I'm going to go with the 49ers to cover.
What do you think of the idea that the Bears, new coach, they might have a little bit of new life, play a better game than what they've played so far, and go in and win?
Maybe. I don't know.
At the end of the day, it's still the Bears, so I'll take the 49ers.
Then they just promote an assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else are you going to do, really?
Oh, I know, but I don't know. I don't know. This 49ers team, I don't know if they're better than anybody.
Yeah.
This is not the 49ers team we think. There's too many guys missing. And I think Purdy's hurt. He's not 100%. They lost, what's his name, McCaffrey last week.
Yeah.
That was kind of freaky.
Yeah.
So it's just not their year.
So Travis, big Niner fan, says they're already done, and I get the sentiment,
right.
but the only reason they aren't is the division.
It's the division.
So, like, if they were to win this game, they're 6-7, and then if Arizona wins, well, then you're one game behind Seattle and Arizona. I mean, you still have a decent ish.
Yeah,
chance.
I mean,
so if they lose, they're finished. Forget it.
They have to win.
Yeah.
So can they suck it up and win a game? They have to. That's what we're looking at here. So Yep.
To be fair, I wouldn't pick them against very many teams, but the Bears,
Yeah, I think they should. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Chiefs, the Chargers and the Chiefs.
I don't even know what to say.
It's got to be the worst 11-1 team in the history of football, but they are 11-1. They're 4-point favorites against the Chargers. Who you got here?
You're right. I don't even know what to say about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're, to me, they're using up all their luck that they're going to need when they get. You want your luck in the playoffs. You don't want your luck against the Raiders.
No.
The Raiders are 2-10 and should have won.
You think about the Raiders went in there and they easily, you could say they could have beat them.
Oh, yeah, they should have.
If not, should have beat them. Denver went to Kansas City and should have beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's every week with the Panthers game, they were tied with, and it's just like.
That's right. That was overtime, wasn't it?
No, it was going to go well.
Right. And he made that long run. Yeah.
Right. So, again, I mean, a couple of plays here and there, and this is like a 500 team.
Well, also too, and the loss with the Raiders and the win over the Raiders and the win over it feels like a loss.
Yeah.
And the win over Denver and the Raiders had the ball last.
Yes.
They had the game right where you got to have the ball last against Mahomes. You have
Denver had a chip shot, basically field goal, and got it blocked. And then the Raiders were a couple plays away from being in a same situation and fumbled the ball on a
bizarre.
They snapped it too soon.
Yeah, didn't blow the play dead.
I don't know how you can take the Chiefs with any kind of points. I would say that right off the bat. Like, to me, like Chargers +4, that's the play.
Yeah.
Can they actually win? I don't know.
I don't either. If the Chiefs were playing better, it would be 8 probably.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, the Chargers are 8-4, had a great year, winning games they should, but they're barely winning.
Yeah,
that's what scares you. They're not going. They're 8-4 by a slim margin.
Yes,
8-4. No domination in these games.
Yes,
they're solid. They're well coached. Obviously, the talent we've talked about, it's not near as good as it's been in the past. But you got a coach knows how to coach this kind of stuff. They're playing tough, physical. It's tempting to take them. Can you take them? I just can't.
I took the Chargers +4.
But now you want to take them in the points, yeah.
Yeah,
They're not going to win though.
they probably aren't.
No.
No, no. And this will be the week the Chiefs cover, probably. But yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would imagine I know exactly how this game's going to go. It's going to be like 23-20, and and they'll have every chance and not be able to win, and the Chiefs will beat them. That's probably how it'll go. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, final one. Great Monday night game. Bengals on the road take on the Cowboys. I guess the Bengals are done, but I guess the Cowboys aren't like totally done, even though they are. Cincinnati's a 5.5-point favorite here against the Cowboys. Who you got?
I can't take Cincinnati. I can't.
This is a game I would never bet in a billion years, because me watching a game for 3 hours and having to root for Cincinnati or Dallas just sounds awful.
That's true.
Awful.
Very good point. Very
Yeah.
good. I think Dallas might win.
I would, if you made me pick somebody, I would take
How does
Dallas.
Cincinnati have any motivation? I
Yeah.
guess the Cowboys, if they ran the table, might make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to think who's ahead of them. Washington's not that far ahead of them.
I mean, I can't believe we're doing this because it's a waste of time, but let's look at Dallas's schedule.
I'm trying to get some motivation here.
Well, here's a win, right? If they can, let me go back. This is a game they have for this to matter, they have to win this one.
No doubt.
Then they have to go to, so that would get them to 500 if they got these two wins.
7-7.
The Bucks at home, that's definitely a game they could win.
If they're 7-7, they're on like a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And they could get them to 8. Here's the key one right here.
They're not winning there, and they're not winning it.
If the Eagles don't rest people or something.
Yeah. And then the Commanders to finish. I mean, I look at that, how Dallas has been playing, and I see one win, basically, maybe two.
Yeah. It's a long shot, but
yeah.
But I think it's enough motivation for them to win this game.
Yeah.
I don't think Cincinnati should be a 5.5-point favorite.
I don't either.
See, I'm taking the Cowboys.
All right. I'm not betting this game, though. No way. All right. Anything else you got? That'll do it for today. I do know Blinkers Off is going to be at 1:00. So 1:00 Central. So that's coming
good.
up in 45 minutes. So
time.
We'll have that soon. You got anything else?
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great weekend of football. And man, the college is, it's demanding all the attention, really.
Yeah.
This Thursday night game's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
That other slate, I didn't see much excitement for Sunday.
No.
How about our OU Center basketball team?
Yeah, we control Atlantis. We won the battle for Atlantis. We beat Dennis Trusty's Louisville Cardinals. So we're 8-0. We're nationally ranked. And
huge crowd in there on Wednesday night too. When that or Tuesday night against Georgia Tech. Wasn't that a big crowd? Did you see any?
Like
of that?
there were about 16 people there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really support that program down there. Great fans. OU fans are just so good.
I got a text. Yeah, we control the Mermaids. That was the running joke Dennis and I had. Winner gets the Mermaids, talking about Louisville and OU last weekend. I had a friend text me, an Arkansas friend, and he said, if you guys would support Moser and give him money to go get players, you guys would probably win the national championship.
No, we wouldn't win the national championship, but he's a great coach.
He's like, you got the best coach in the country, and you give him no help.
No help.
I was like, yeah, I know.
They go, I'm so sick of Oklahoma fans. I hope 1 million of them are listening to this. I am sick of you.
Yeah.
You aren't fans.
No.
You don't support anything but football. And the only reason you support softball is because they win the national championship.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You could care less if they don't.
Well, look at the baseball program. There's no support for baseball.
No, you are pitiful fans. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'll say that right to your face. You're pitiful.
Well,
you have an undefeated basketball team. And you're not playing Podunk. You're playing Georgia Tech.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were undefeated. They just made a nice, for OU standards, a really nice run in a tournament. They won it.
Totally unexpected.
They're ranked. The SEC ACC challenge is a thing that
It's big time.
It's kind of, it's not a huge deal, but it's a big deal.
And they had a $5 promotion, Aaron, to get into the game.
And it's at 8 o'clock. It's
Yes.
not, it's not the 6 o'clock. It's an 8
Well,
o'clock
you
thing.
can't go because it's at 6 o'clock.
Right.
That a million times.
And like I said, there was like 16 people at the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. We're
For sure.
I agree with that, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it makes me sick.
Well, yeah, it does. But
$5 to get in the game. And I think everything at the concession stand, I don't know about beer, but everything was $2. They had some kind of a $2 promotion at the concession stand as well.
well, that's the thing. Like you hear them sometimes where they, they need to have some promotion. It's like they always do promotions.
They practically beg you to come to the games.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. So here's what happened with Kelvin Sampson. So when he first got to Oklahoma, he was the happiest guy in the world because he didn't get a lot of attention until February, March, and he was fine with that. He said then they would come around, but what happened was he made Oklahoma extremely successful. They went to the Final Four. They had great players. And what he learned was it didn't matter. That was the same thing. And so he got sick of that real quick once they got to that. Because I think his thought was once we get to this elite level, that's when the program will catch fire and all these people will support it. And it stayed the support was exactly the same.
Yeah. And all I would say with him, with Porter Moser, they're so boring. I don't want to go watch that.
Right.
The only time they ever went was when Billy Tubbs was down there. And you know why they went then? Because Billy Tubbs was an asshole. And they liked that. Yeah. He would run the score up on people, and they loved that.
Yeah, but it's still he's not even then though. It wasn't like it's even rivals an actual program. Like as far as support,
once football was over, they drew a lot better than they do now.
Oh, it's bad.
It's a shame.
That's why I said Lon Kruger was the best fit for Oklahoma ever, because Lon Kruger didn't care if he played in front of one person or 10,000. No, he was like a robot.
He just coached.
Yeah, and he didn't care. And he didn't get all, we got to get these people. And he didn't care. He's like, yeah, if they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah. He got his $3 million, whatever he was paid, and just went home.
And they won.
And they won,
though. Every year they were in the tournament. And they went to the Final Four because.
Which is all you have to do there.
That's just kind of how he operated, though. He was just like,
he was perfect.
All I'm going to care about is coaching, and I don't care about anybody here or not,
He didn't have an ego.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. So,
and I don't think Porter does either, but the Oklahoma fans need to get off his ass and support him.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Okay. For football, you can complain because all of you are always, I mean, everybody's involved, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma fan who never watches a basketball game and then looks at the bracket in March and goes, well, they're not in. They should fire that guy. I think you don't have a clue.
Yeah. You haven't seen one play of one game all year long.
Right. Yeah.
Get your mouth in.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
That's enough of that.
Anything else?
I think we went too far with that. So no, I think we're done.
Okay. Jackson Arnold's in the transfer portal as well as many quarterbacks.
Into that. That's good stuff too. But
yeah.
And who's gonna? Well, it's gonna be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State is probably the leading candidate for where he would.
Yeah, I think that might be. Yeah.
We'll report more on that next week when it actually, quote unquote, officially opens. We'll report on that. So,
and I think it's pretty much a lock that OU is going to get the guy at Washington State, the quarterback there, that's coming along with the offensive coordinator that they are. I think that's a lock.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
And National Signing Day, which used to be a big day, was yesterday. Now it doesn't mean anything. So
I know. Yeah.
Crap too. So
yeah.
By the way, no one has said anything about my Christmas tree.
Somebody literally just did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Nice. Decorated that nice, didn't you think?
I like it. Yeah. Look at all these people. They like it.
Yeah. Well, it's not mine. I'm on the road. I'm on a road trip. And so
there you go.
It's great.
That's why it looks good. It's not yours.
Beautiful tree. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We got. I have a lot to do today, so I've got to get out of here.
Yeah, we got to get going. You got to get some food and get ready for the next one.
Get ready for the next one. All right, guys. We'll see you back here next week. Everybody have a good time watching all the games this week, and we'll be here at some point breaking down the playoffs. So we'll see you guys next week.
This is due to Bet Sports.